Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki Sri Nitai Gauranga ki Sri Krishna Balaram ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Chapter 5 Text 22 Please repeat after me. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adiyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adiyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Please repeat. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Purport. Material sense pleasures are due to the contact of the material senses, which are all temporary because the body itself is temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of transcendental pleasures, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? In the Padma Purana it is said, Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmani iti ramapadena asau param brahma abhidhiyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is also known as Rama. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also it is said, Nayam deho deha bhajam nruloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujamye tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhyet yasmad brahma saukhyam tvanantam. My dear sons, there is no reason to labor very hard for sense pleasure while in this human form of life. Such pleasures are available to the stool eaters, hogs. Rather, you should undergo penances in this life by which your existence will be purified. And as a result, you will be able to enjoy unlimited transcendental bliss. Therefore, those who are true yogis or learned transcendentalists are not attracted by sense pleasures, which are the causes of continuous material existence. The more one is addicted to material pleasures, the more he is entrapped by material miseries. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So a very important verse from Bhagavad Gita, which gives a very essential meaning in life. So Krishna says, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. This bhoga. Bhoga means what? Enjoyment. And this enjoyment that we feel in this life with our body, made of 5 senses, is arised because of this principle called samsparsha. You know, sparsha means touch. Samsparsha means touch. So this happiness that we feel is because of this touch of this material body with the sense objects. Like the eyes, when they touch the vision, beautiful form, it could be anything, we feel pleasure. Our tongue, when it touches nice taste, we feel pleasure. When the skin touches nice warm water in winter or cold water in summer, we feel pleasure. So like that, every sense has got a particular sense object by which it feels pleasure. It's called samsparsha. The bhoga or enjoyment we feel in this body is because of samsparsha. So what Krishna is saying, yehi samsparsha ja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. The happiness that you are feeling with this touch of material senses and sense objects results in misery. Quite opposite to what we are thinking. Dukkha yonaya evate. Why does Krishna say so? Krishna gives a brief answer to that in this verse. Adi antavantaha kaunteya. Kaunteya means Arjuna, O son of Kunti. Why I'm saying that this kind of happiness leads to misery? One reason is Adi antavantaha. It has beginning and it has an end. Like you will all go and have prasadam after kirtan. Now we'll give you nice sweet, nice meal, everything. Now you have eaten fully up to your brim. Now if I give you another plate of excellent feast, will you have it again? It may be your favorite sweet. You had 10 sweets. If I give you after that another sweet like that, you will say, no, I don't want. Because that has a beginning and an end. Okay, you had that pleasure. Why is it misery? Why does it cause misery? Even in scientific terms, there is a chemical called dopamine. How many of you have heard about it? Quite a few have heard. So when you taste something like your favorite sweet or do a favorite activity, a chemical is released, dopamine chemical. That's what makes you happy. Now the problem with that is, so what is the problem with that? So now you have got used to a particular level of dopamine release. Just like these drug addicts, they keep injecting this drug. After a few days, the same amount of injection won't work, isn't it? They need a higher dose because that doesn't stimulate them anymore. They need more and more of that to get the same kind of stimulus. And it keeps on going up and up and up. So what is the problem with that? It spoils your body. It spoils your health. It makes you addictive. It makes you lose taste for anything else which is meaningful in life. It makes you miserable. Isn't it miserable? That's what Krishna is saying. On the other hand, there is another chemical called serotonin. I'm sure many of you might have heard. It's not like dopamine. It is released when you do a meaningful activity, a duty, mixing with people, talking with them, selfless service, meditation, going out for a walk in the nature, exercise. These kind of things release this chemical called serotonin, and it is not addictive. You can have as much as of that you want. It won't result in misery. And that's what Bhagavad Gita also is saying. what the modern inventions scientists are saying. The same thing Bhagavad Gita is saying many millenniums ago. Do things which are in mode of goodness, not which are resulting in happiness based on sense gratification. The other way we can look at different ways by which how Krishna is saying that this sense gratification leads to misery. The other way to look at it is, say you have a itching sensation. The other day I went to a shop to get some paperwork done, and they have a very interesting device which basically reaches to the back and it can itch you, it can scratch your back, it relieves your itching sensation, and it can extend and contract, things like that. So when you scratch, when there is an itching sensation, it feels a little pleasure, right? But what happens if you keep on scratching just because there is an itch? There is an itch here, you keep on scratching, what will happen? It starts to pain and it may bruise. It results in misery, isn't it? And that's what Krishna is saying. Dukkha yonaya evate. Or the other example. What gives taste to your food? Is it vegetable? Or is it the spice? The salt. Salt is the very essential aspect of giving taste to the food, isn't it? We don't like to eat, if your wife makes or your husband makes a dal without salt. Will you like to touch it? Oh, I cannot eat it. Salt is what gives taste. Because salt is giving taste, what will happen if you keep on adding salt? Salt is the one giving taste, isn't it? If you keep on adding salt, what will happen? The taste gets spoiled, and it's not good for your health also to eat salty food. So again, sense gratification or more salt leads to misery. So more sense gratification leads to misery. Prabhupada also said, sense gratification leads to disease. How is it? It's very easy to understand. The same example I gave. Say if you overate. Yesterday morning we had a nice prasadam. And I ate one serving extra because it was very good. And then I was attending the meeting. And by the time I looked at my plate, one devotee came and put a big piece of sweet on my plate. And I cannot give it to others also because it's already in my plate. And then I had to eat it. Because of which I had to skip my lunch because my tummy was so full. This is called overeating, resulting in indigestion. Nowadays people are after intermittent fasting. Why? Because anything more than what the body requires is not good for your body. Whether it is eating or drinking, smoking, any kinds of things, even watching, anything which you overdo is not good. Even the money you earn, it is said in scriptures, just like you are accumulating more food into your body, which is not good if it is more than what is needed, the more money you accumulate more than what you need is also not good for you. It results in misery. That's why Isopanishad says, Ishavashyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrudha kasya svidhanam. Everything is the property of Isha. Isha means what? The Supreme Lord. Ishavashyam idam sarvam jagat. So there is quota given to everybody. For an elephant, the quota is different. It can eat tons and tons of food. For an ant, the quota is different. For a human being, the quota is different. Similarly, whether it is eating or accumulation or any activity for giving pleasure, the body also needs some kind of pleasure, interaction of senses with sense objects. There is a quota for it. If you cross that quota, it results in problem. Tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kasya svidhanam. Prabhupada was once giving a lecture on why there is lack of peace in the society. So he said, it's because of sense gratification. And I was hearing that lecture and I was trying to understand, why does sense gratification leads to lack of peace in society? Lack of peace in anybody's life for that matter. I'm enjoying my senses. And then eventually he came to the point. He said, he asked a question. Can a thief ever be calm and peaceful and happy? Because he has stolen. He knows that the police is looking after him, and any moment he can be caught. Isn't it? He can never be happy. He can never be peaceful. His enjoyment is always mixed with that moroseness. So the thief can never be happy. Like they say the story, a man was once invited to a lunch by his friend, and he was given all kinds of nice things in front of him, all the favorite things, how much ever he wants to eat. And then the friend also said, so this is a funny thing that is going to happen. There is this knife hanging on top of your head, very sharp knife, sword actually. And he said, as soon as you finish eating, that sword is going to come and fall onto you. And now, can this man ever eat this properly, happily? How much ever hungry he is, how much ever he likes that food that he is going to eat, can he eat it happily? No, because there is that impending danger that is going to come at the end of it. Similarly, this thief can never be happy because he has stolen. He knows that he has stolen. He can never become happy. The police is after him. Similarly, what Prabhupada was saying in that lecture was, anything that we enjoy in this world, again goes back to the same point. Ishavashyam idam sarvam. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anything we take from Him, it actually belongs to Him. Just like you are using government facilities, the roads, the infrastructure, everything. And you live by evading your taxes. What will happen? Eventually the law will catch up with you and you will be fined. You will be fined more than what you actually had to pay because you evaded it. There will be penalty, interest, so on and so forth. You will suffer. Similarly, sense gratification means taking that which belongs to God and using it for your senses. Actually, if you speak from the scriptural perspective, the senses actually belong to God. It's like we are leasing. Krishna's name is Rishikesha. Anybody knows what is the meaning of Rishikesha? We call Rishikesh. Rishik Ish. Isha means the God or master. Rishika means senses. Senses. He is the master of the senses. The senses are leased to us for usage, just like we all lease apartments. Isn't it? So, just because I lease the apartment unit, can I do whatever I want? Can I break the wall? Oh, it's my apartment. I can do whatever. This is what people argue, right? Oh, it's my body. I can do whatever I want. What is the issue if I engage in sense gratification? No, even though it is your apartment, you live, you've been leased, you don't own this. If you do anything nasty there, you'll have to pay the consequences. You'll have to suffer. So as long as the thief is engaged or we engage in sense gratification, it is like thief engaging and we can never become happy. These, let's say this example from the nature. You know how they catch these animals. We all know how the fish is caught, right? How the fish is caught. You put a bait and the fish goes for the bait and the fish is caught. Similarly, you know how the elephant is caught, the male elephant especially. So what they do is they lure the male elephant with a female elephant. So the male elephant goes after the female elephant and eventually it leads to a ditch. The male elephant falls into the ditch and it gets caught. You know how this deer is captured or hunted by the hunter? There is a standard traditional method they use. I don't know now what they do, whether it is allowed also, I don't know. But in scriptures it is said, apparently the deer is mesmerized by music. So this hunter plays this nice flute by which this deer becomes completely captivated and it loses the sensitivity of the threat of the hunter. And the hunter captures the deer very easily. So what is there? Elephant, deer, fish, and then moth. Fourth animal, moth. How does the moth die? It dashes into the fire. The moth is bewildered, or it's rather dazzled by this light. It thinks, oh, something wonderful is happening. But it doesn't know that it is fire. So the moth dashes into the fire and it dies. And the fifth example, bee, honeybee. You know, this honeybee is very enchanted by the smell of the lotus flower. So when the lotus flower is bloomed, the honeybee goes to the center and tries to enjoy the smell. And in the evening time, the lotus flower closes and the honeybee is trapped. And it doesn't realize that. It just stays inside tasting or smelling the wonderful smell. Apparently, this bee is very strong to even drill a hole into a piece of wood. But it chooses to stay inside that lotus flower, captivated by the smell of that lotus flower, and then gets trapped. So why these 5 examples are given? Because, why? 5 senses. Each sense is weak in a particular animal. Like the elephant, the sense of touch is its enemy. Moth, the sense of vision. The bee, the sense of smell. The deer, the sense of ears. The fish, the sense of tongue, which has dragged them to death. But for a human being, everything is uncontrolled. Not just one sense, all the 5 senses are uncontrolled. That is why when we chant the prayers, if you stay long enough after the class, after the kirtan, you might have heard this prayer we chant before prasadam. How many of you have heard this? Sharira vidyajal jodendriya tahekal. How many of you have heard? Yes. Please observe that next time when we chant and try to contemplate the meaning. What it means is, this sharira, avidyajal, means it's a network of illusion. This body. And the senses, the body is made of the senses. Jodendriya tahekal. The body consists of senses and it is dragging them to death. So the senses literally drag us to death by making us go after these different things. That's why Bhagavatam compares the senses also to wives. Like in those days, people would marry multiple wives. So the senses are compared to wives. Jihvai katochyuta vikarshati ma vitrupta Shishnonyatastvagudaram shravanam kutaschit Ghranonyataschapaladrakkvacha karma shaktir Bahyah sapatnya iva geha patim lunanti. So the jihva is attached, is attracting us to one side. The ears are attracting us to another side to hear something nasty. The tongue, the genitals, the skin, so many things are attracting, just like Bahvyaha sapatne iva geha patim lunanti. This man goes home and there are wives calling him to different directions and he is completely lost. They say one moral story in this connection, how there was this beggar, very poor, and he didn't have anything. So he was going around asking people and they were all denying him to give anything. So he went on, because of his bad luck, hardly getting some food here and there. There was nothing for him to even store some extra things that come his way. And so he found a pot maker after so long. After 9 months of search, he found some pot maker who appeared to be a little charitable. So he begged him, "Can I get one pot?" And so this pot maker, he said, "Okay, I'll give you one pot." So he made one small pot and gave it to him, and he became very happy. And he became, sometimes when somebody gets something, a lottery or something which is unusual, they become so happy, and he was jumping around, tossing it, and then somehow he tossed it and then forgot to catch properly, and it fell and broke. And now he was thinking, I have to search for it again another 9 months. So why they tell this story is, this 9 months represent something in our life. What is that? Birth. We spend 9 months to get our body, we come out, and if we misuse that body by tossing it around for sense gratification and lose it, and again we have to spend 9 months in another womb again to get another body, not necessarily a human body. That is why Prabhupada is quoting this shloka from Bhagavatam, spoken by Rishabhadev. Rishabhadev is the father of Bharat Maharaj, on whose name India is called Bharat, because of great Bharat Maharaj. So his father is Rishabhadev, incarnation of Krishna. He had 100 children. The head of them is Bharat Maharaj. And he has given this instruction to all of them. Very nice instruction. Nayam deho deha bhajam ruloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujam ye. So he says, "Oh my dear children, I am dehaha, this body that you got, especially in that of human body. Nruloke. Nruloke means amongst the human beings, the body you got, the human body. Kashtan kaman na arhate. It is not deserving to enjoy the sense gratificatory delights like that of vidbhujam ye. Vidbhujam means, it's a very strong word, stool eating hog. The hog delights in eating stool. So if we also just use this body for sense gratification, we also are compared to like the stool eating hogs. Then what should the body should be used? Tapo divyam putraka. O putraka, this body has to be used for tapasya, divya tapasya, not the tapasya that we do for our projects, software projects, or whatever projects that we do. Of course, that is needed for our sustenance, but that should not be the only tapasya we do. Divya tapasya means, like we'll do at the end of the class, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Together, let's chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, because the animals cannot chant Hare Krishna, of course, some special animals can by the mercy of the Lord, but the prerogative of chanting the holy name of the Lord is given only in this human body. Very rare human life. Nrudehamadyam sulabham sudhullabham plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam. This human body is like a boat which can cross this big ocean, this material ocean full of miseries. This human body is like a boat which can cross. And the guru is like the captain which can navigate this boat. And the scriptures are like the favorable winds which can help us take across this ocean. So that's what Rishabhadeva says. Tapo divyam putraka yenas shuddham sattvam shuddhyet. Just like you are diseased. Can you do anything happily? You cannot eat properly, you cannot sleep properly, you cannot run, you cannot enjoy life, you cannot work. Anything you cannot do properly. So what is the right way of enjoyment? First you have to get rid of the disease and then you can enjoy. So spiritual life is not about austerity just for losing some enjoyment. Like one time Prabhupada came, he landed from a plane, he was received by his devotees, disciples. And one reporter came and asked, so what is the goal of life, Swamiji? And he was expecting to hear something very esoteric or very spiritual. And Prabhupada said, the goal of life is to enjoy. And then he was bewildered. And then Prabhupada explained, we actually want to enjoy, but we are diseased. Just like a diseased man, if he tries to enjoy, his disease becomes even worse, isn't it? So in our conditioned life, if we try to enjoy without curing the disease gets worse. So our sattvam has to be shuddhyet by tapasya. All these spiritual practices, for example, today is Ekadashi. Some people fast from grains. So our prasadam today is going to be non-grains. We'll make it nicely, of course. But some people, they refrain from eating, sometimes even from water. Some people subsist on only fruits, some only on water, some with non-grains. Why? Because this is divya tapasya. And now the science is also supporting. Every 15 days you do fasting completely. That will remove your cancer also. These are all embedded principles that will help spiritually as well as materially. So if you do divya tapasya, that will cleanse your material disease, then you can enjoy spiritual life. What Prabhupada is saying. Ramante yogino anante satyanande chidatmani. There was once this boy, he was playing happily in a playground. And one old woman, she came in a car, she got down and she called this boy. And so this boy went running to her. And she gifted him a box of roasted almonds. And the boy became very happy. And he said, is it for me? She said, yes, for you, of course. And he started to eat very nicely. He became very happy. He went. And she came the next day also. And she called him again. And the boy came running, expecting that she would give the same thing again. And again, to his surprise, she gave it. And again, he took it. He started to enjoy and went. And then it went on for a week or so. And then one day, he asked her a question. Why you are not eating and giving it to me? She said, no, I'm old. I cannot chew this. So I want to give it to somebody who can eat nicely. That's why I'm giving. Okay, the boy became happy. But then the next day he got a question. Okay, why if, okay, she is not able to eat, she is giving me, okay, all right. But then why she is buying if she is not able to eat? He got that question. So next day he went and asked. And she, as if very innocent, she said, my dear beta, this actually, This box is chocolate coated almonds. So I eat the chocolate outside and I leave the roasted almonds. So I didn't want to waste it. And then this boy was shocked, devastated. He became nauseatic. He went home and he was like, oh my God, what was I doing? This foolish lady, I fell into the trap. So it is this material sense gratification is like that. It's contaminating. When we engage in material sense gratification, as I was saying, we become diseased. Why? Because it is contaminating. The modes of material nature, this sense gratification has all over contamination of modes of material nature. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yagna shishtashinah santo muchyante sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate te tu agham papa epachanti atmakaranat. This whole material nature, if you take it atmakaranat for your own sense gratification, you are eating verily sin. Because it is not produced by you. Like you are working in some company. How the company makes money in this material world, a skyscraper has to come only when there is a digging in the next place. A company has to flourish when another company goes down. Anything we accomplish in this world, it comes at the cost of something going bad, somebody facing losses. So anything we enjoy is contaminating. Bhunjate te agham papa. But in order to get rid of contamination, Krishna says, Yagna shishta asinaha santo. The devotees, what they do? They eat yagna shishta asinaha. Whether it is food, whether it is money, whether it is anything, they first offer it to Krishna. Will Krishna take away everything? You can offer the food and Krishna tastes it transcendentally with his eyes, leaves the complete food there. You offer him money, it comes back to you unlimited times, just like in the Krishna book or Srimad Bhagavatam, we know that story where this lady came with this the fruits basket. And Krishna came with his lotus palms, small, tiny palms. He was trying to barter, get some fruits in exchange with some grains, but he was not able to hold the grains, hardly few grains left. And then she took that and happily gave Krishna whatever he wanted. And then she looked at the basket, and the basket was full of jewels. So that's what happens when you give to Krishna. Yagna sishtasinaha santo muchyante sarva kilbishahi. You will be freed from all kinds of kilbisha. And at the end, you will also spiritually become elevated. So this is the transcendental method of Krishna consciousness, where you will become materially peaceful. Materially also you will enjoy. Spiritually also you will progress. So that is what we are given by Bhagavad Gita, by Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas. This transcendental method. You see, we sing and dance, we eat, we do everything, but the center becomes Krishna. And the life becomes fully peaceful and no contamination and happy. I'd like to stop here. Anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, now we'll be, as I said, we'll be chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. Anybody coming for the first time who has not chanted Hare Krishna? Welcome. So I will first, Narendra, can you give them the first beads? Whoever came for the first time, there also. Watch out, there is one person there. So this has 108 beads. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah. Who is Krishna? Okay, one word answer and little bigger answer. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Means he is the origin of everything. The name Krishna means all attractive. Akarshana. You must have heard Akarshana. Krishna. Akarshana means God must be all attractive, who possesses all kinds of opulences, beauty, fame, wealth, knowledge, renunciation, everything, strength. So a person who possesses all these opulences in full, only he can be called as God. And that was exhibited by Krishna when he descended in his original form onto this planet 5,000 years ago. So that's in short. If you have any specific question, I can expand it further. Okay. Okay, so this has 108 beads, and with a head bead having threads attached to it. You can skip that one. Without that, there are 108 beads. And on each bead, we are going to chant this mantra: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this mantra is non-different from Krishna himself. Why? Because in the absolute world, there is no difference between the name and the form or the person. If you call my name, I am there, I cannot be here. But when you call Krishna, Krishna actually is there on your tongue. Because there is no difference between the sound vibration Krishna and Krishna himself or his deity. Krishna is there personally in his deity. Even though we cannot perceive it with our material eyes, he is there. And that's what the scriptures are saying. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvat Nama Namino. There is no abhinnatva or there is no bhinnatva, abhinnatva. There is no difference between the holy name and Krishna. That is why in Kali Yuga, for the fallen people of this Kali Yuga, who cannot engage in years and years of meditation like Valmiki had done for 60,000 years, or engage in great yagnas like they were doing in Treta Yuga, or gorgeous deity worship that they were doing in Dwapara Yuga. Because we cannot do all of that, Krishna, God, kindly comes in the form of his holy name and becomes available to masses of people so they can worship him anywhere and everywhere just by reciting his holy name, chanting his holy name. You don't have to be a Brahmana to go inside the deity and worship or chant some Vedic mantras. You don't have to be an elder in order to be able to appreciate the literature and knowledge. Even a child can chant, an old man can chant, a woman can chant, a African can chant, American can chant, anybody can chant, because this works on the platform of spirit soul and not the body. We are all eternally related with Krishna. So this is the greatest boon given to us in Kali Yuga, chanting of these holy names. And we recommend everyone to chant, not just today, every day. If you can chant 108 times this Hare Krishna mantra, your life will change. So that's our sincere recommendation. But today we will be chanting together synchronously. I'll be chanting in the microphone and you can follow along with me. Chant together, I mean. And while chanting, try to focus on hearing what you are chanting. You don't have to think how Krishna looks, or you can think of deity also, no worries. But the best method is, Krishna is non-different from his sound, so make it enter as much as possible with your ears. Is that fine? And whatever happens in this room or in your mind, don't let your mind go anywhere except the sound vibration. This is the art of meditation, mantra meditation. All right? You're good? And chant outside, not in your mind. Recite with your mouth. Before that, we'll take blessings of the spiritual master and the Shad Goswami, the Panchatattva. Please repeat after me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So let's chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,